Tua, what was the difference tonight in finally getting the result that you wanted?
I think we played complementary football. When the defense gave us the ball, we did our best with what we could do with it offensively. And when we gave the ball away, the defense held them to 3, minimalized the points that they put on the board. And so, I think that was one of the keys to the victory today.
Just your third game back, you've said that you feel good. Just, how do you think that you played personally tonight?
There's a lot of things that I could work on. Turning the ball over, situational awareness with some of the plays. But I think overall, just with what the guys have done, with the losing streak that we've had, just the resilience of this team, I think it showed tonight.
Describe the impact that your defense had. You talked about the D a little bit, just kind of taking the pressure off them, keeping them out of the end zone.
Exactly that. We've been waiting for a game where we could essentially play complementary football, and defense came through big for us today. And, we just got to go back in. We're going to go enjoy this. We got to go back in and figure out what we can do to continue to get better.
3-6, you still got an uphill battle, but how do you like your chances looking ahead?
I love our chances. We're going to keep pressing forward.
All right, thanks. Congratulations on the win, Tua.
Thanks.
It's SportsCenter Live from SoFi Stadium, where the Dolphins go on the road and get the dub. On Countdown, there were a couple of people that said the Dolphins would win. I was one of them. Drew Brees was the other. Calais Campbell is here alongside. Congratulations on the victory tonight. Your defense was so instrumental in this victory because you go up against a guy who is a legendary and incredibly talented quarterback in Matthew Stafford. To keep them out of the end zone tonight, what did it take to do that, especially in the red zone, to really buckle down?
Yeah, I think Anthony Weaver called an incredible game. I think the defense, we were hungry. We knew that we had to have this, and we had to play as good as we could play. Their weapons are incredible. Stafford, Hall of Famer. You got weapons across the board. They've been rolling the last couple games, so we knew we had to be at our best, and we played our best game today.
It was clear both fronts really made it difficult. Their front, they got some talented young fellas. That my guy Swagger, Marcus Spears, he's stingy with the praise, and he was talking a lot about them. But then when you got the sack right there, and you hit him with the big man ball, and what do we got right here? Is this where you hit the jumper? There we go. You got a little crossover for the people.
I still got a little game. I was a great basketball player, and I wanted to retire the best swing when I got to 100, so I had to figure out something else. And jump shot, step back jump shot, it was nice.
But pressuring a quarterback like Stafford, he's not a guy that wants to run. We understand that. We had a stat on him. There have been 50 quarterbacks in the NFL who have a scramble this year. He is not one of them. He's going to stay put in the pocket, but how important is it to just get in the man's face to prevent him from seeing a window? Because if he does, how costly it can be.
Yeah, he's elite, and he's tough to get to. Last couple of weeks, they haven't given up a sack at all. And our coach kept harping on that. So we said, you got to answer the bell. It was a big-time challenge, and we had to get to him to make him uncomfortable. He still makes some incredible plays under pressure. That's what he does. But, we kept coming just, one play after another, and eventually we got to him.
When you sat down before we came on the air, you and I were talking about the schedule. And look, the back end of the AFC is going to create a lane for you, but you got to get a lot right. And a win tonight, I felt like, was critical in that. No one can be taken for granted in the NFL. We understand that. But in your room, and now having Tua back healthy, how important is a win tonight to give you guys that chance to make these next month and a half's worth of games really lead to something you hope it can?
This was huge. The mindset was to start a wildfire, all you need is one spark.
Okay.
And that spark happened today, and now we got to keep it going and build on it. It's a short week, but it doesn't matter. We need to win. We're hungry, and we'll keep fighting for it.
That decal that's on your jersey, I know how much that means, a Walter Payton Man of the Year. In year 17 in this league, and you still have plenty of game, clearly. But to be a guy like an old head, an OG, a guy that's seen and done everything, been on teams that weren't any good, what do you feel like you bring to this group, that not just the on-the-field talent, but what can you provide to this group day in and day out that they can follow?
Yeah, a lot of it is just trying to establish a confidence. The confidence that all of our efforts going to matter. Mm-hmm. If we keep putting the work in, we keep standing and keep believing, eventually it's going to matter, it's going to pay off, and we got to just do the small things well. And today was a big testament to that. It's been brewing, and we just having tough losses, good teams. And, today another good team, and we found a way to win a ball game. And now I think our schedule lines up. But my mindset is just keep everybody focused on the small details, keep them believing, and just having a whole lot of heart, and give it our best shot. Whatever happens, happens.
How much more runway you have in this game?
I'll tell you this. I love it with all my heart. I play it to the fullest every day. I don't know when God's going to call it. When God tells me it's over, but I'm going to ride it till the wheels fall off.
Listen, I mean, there's if the call comes, you can say, hold on now, because it's clear. I asked that with sincerity, because there's no diminishing of the assets in my mind. Like, when we watch you, you're still impacting the game much as you always have. Does it feel that way to you?
It does, but
what's it feel like on Tuesday and Wednesday, though?
I'm hurt, but I got a lot of heart, and I love it so much, and I put so much time and effort to it, and I have a great team. A lot of people that help me get back right, and if you have a good team, you can do anything with a great team.
Well, and you're a great leader, Calais Campbell. It's a pleasure to see you again. It's been a while. Stay well until the next time. I hope it's all right.
I got to give a shout-out to the Park Hill Pirates, the legendary Tony Wells, man. Hey, that's where I come from, Denver, Colorado, man. They made me.
Love it. You can keep going if you want. Make sure you shout out all your people. All right.
Defensively, I was really pleased with the way that we played. That's a really explosive offense. I thought we were able to limit them, create a bunch of negative plays, get some turnovers, give really good short fields to the offense, and then ultimately, we weren't able to capitalize. There wasn't any sort of semblance of complementary football, and that's where we have to be able to improve. And fortunately, it is a short week. Sometimes these bad tastes that you have in your mouth after a game like this, say, let's go back to work, let's really look at it, and let's come back with the right mindset and mentality on Wednesday.
Sean, rarely do we see your teams look sloppy. Is that accurate tonight?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of instances where really we haven't been consistent enough, especially when you just look at it from sloppy. Yeah, I mean, there was some execution that has to be better, and I want to be able to go back and look at the tape, but these are things that we have to be able to clean up if we want to be the type of team, and especially from an offensive perspective, we've got to be able to play better and consistently execute better with 11 as one.
In the moment, as the offense was struggling to get into the end zone, what was your analysis of in real time as it was happening? What was the problem?
Frustration. I think just like everybody else, because there's opportunities for us to be able to execute. I do have belief in these guys, and here's the thing, you know this, Gary. We're all in this thing together. We've got to be able to look at it, and we've got to consistently figure out what's the best way to put our guys in the right kinds of spots. And trying to be able to figure out some sort of semblance of an identity. It's whatever I say is going to be an excuse. Frustration is the answer to your original question, and we have to be better.
The math equation is simple. If you hold a team to 3 rather than 7, what's it worth? 4. But when you do that over and over and over, is it actually, Ryan, worth more than just 4?
Absolutely, because it's demoralizing to the offense. Here you are with Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay, one of the brightest minds in football, one of the most talented quarterbacks, and you continue to keep this team out of the end zone. And after a while, you feel like this team can't score touchdowns on you. You feel like this team can't get into the end zones. And it's also continuing to energize not only your entire team, but your offense more importantly, because they understand if they can put 7 up on the board, you have a defense that's continuing to stiffen in the red zone. And I believe that sort of momentum builds all the way until the end of the game, where you see Jalen Ramsey on the second down with the tight coverage on Puka Nacua, and then they eventually kick the field goal. And so right here, too, we're going to talk about how Tua Tagovailoa energized this offense. He got outside the pocket there. There was a free rusher, Scott, and we talked about him protecting himself and creating in the pregame. We watched him do that on that play, and then now you're going to see him get outside of the pocket again. Jared Verse is washed down inside. As he escapes, he finds Odell Beckham Jr., and this was a huge first down conversion for the Miami Dolphins. And there were so many plays tonight. The Jalen Waddle play early on the first series that created a scoring opportunity. Those 2 plays from Tua Tagovailoa, and we talked all pregame, right? And he even said it, like, I don't want to be known as the guy with the concussions. And you saw me in the trailer on the tackle he made every time he held the ball. But the one person that hasn't blinked is Tua, and we have to give him that respect, as you said before the game.
I felt like that. The sit-down conversation with Jeff Darlington, if you haven't seen it, I'd really suggest if you have the time to watch it, because I felt like what you saw and heard from that man was a clear-eyed clarity about what the information he sought about his situation and what he feels he wants to do. And we've talked a lot about other people telling this man what he ought to do.
Yeah.
He's a grown man who's got agency over himself and his family's concerned. And he's like, look, if I got that news, okay, but I didn't. And I think the guys, it seems to me, Ryan, he's going to play as free as he can. And he seems to be freer than probably I or a lot of people would be.
And I don't want to say this and be that guy, he's played a lot freer in these last 3 games than I watched him play all of 2023.
Really?
I felt like in 2023 he was trying to protect himself because he wanted to prove to the entire world and himself he could make it through an entire season. And then we saw against the Buffalo Bills in week 2, we were like, okay, Tua, you can't do that. You can't run into DeMar Hamlin. And so I wonder, would he regress in that part of his mindset as the game goes along? But he hasn't.
Yep.
He created tonight. He held the ball a couple of times where I wish he would have thrown it. But if he doesn't get outside the pocket and believe that he could do that and stay healthy, this team doesn't win this game.
I agree on that, but certainly Tua made enough plays, but ultimately if we're going to assess why they won this game, it's because they kept Stafford and the Rams offense out of the end zone. 5 field goals adds up to 15. And listen, we have 2 hours on countdown. I said this with Joe and Troy. We talked about everything under the sun. If I'm being honest, we did not talk much at all about the Miami defense. We talked about the offense, we talked about the weapons, talked about the Rams' young defense, and they were nasty too in this one. But it was the Dolphins' ability to get pressure, and there was a blitz where we're watching, and it's like, listen, Stafford, I have as much regard for him as anybody, but they got home on a blitz, and that surprised me. I felt like they were able to confuse him, and I'm careful to use that word because I don't know if that's what happened, but it looked like it.
I mean, I felt like they got home a ton, and you're talking about a team with a first-time play caller on the defensive side of the football as well. Remember we talked so much about the similarities between these teams offensively?
Yeah.
Didn't it feel like Miami was very comfortable with the way that they would be attacked by the Los Angeles Rams?
More than the Rams were.
Right. They didn't seem confused by the motions. They didn't seem confused by some of the crossing routes and some of the play action that you normally see from the Los Angeles Rams. And if you think about both of these teams, the difference was this. When the Rams had Tua Tagovailoa dialed in, he got outside of the pocket and made plays. When the Miami Dolphins had the Los Angeles Rams dialed in, Matthew Stafford could not.
Yeah, it's a win, and the schedule does have some potentially winnable games, but I'd make a golf analogy that sometimes you're only a couple of shots off the lead, but if there's like 4 or 5 guys between you and the lead, that's the issue.
Yeah.
I just look at Miami and feel like Cincinnati's there, Indianapolis is in there, Denver's in there. There might be too many teams for them to leap to get that last spot.
Yeah, you know, sometimes too, man, it's not about how fast you are, it's about how fast the other guys you're racing are, right? And you look at this race to get to the playoffs, there are some teams that are just in between them in a wild card spot that may be entirely too high or too far away to jump. But this game gives you that fight, right?
Sure.
This game gives you that optimism that you do still have a chance to play. And I think all that guys look for throughout the season is hope. Right. And I think they have that sort of hope.
I asked Calais, I said I thought it had to start tonight, and he agreed, and that made me happy because that is an enormous human being.
Yeah, you definitely want to agree with him, and he's the only person I've seen that's that big. That voice matches perfectly to his size.